We have some breaking news. Fort Hood Criminal Investigation Division have found skeletal remains in a field in Killeen.
When we hear police have found remains in Killeen, very close to the base, everybody was fearful that it was Vanessa.
También me llegó a pasar por la mente, dije, Dios mío, a lo mejor es mi hija.
CID actually gave me a call, and they said, we found human remains. We believe they're too old to be your sisters.
A short time later, we learn it's actually Gregory Morales' remains. He's a Fort Hood soldier who had been missing for almost a year. He had been listed as a deserter, and sadly, now he's found murdered.
Gregory's personality was very carefree. Anything to do with fun, that was him.
Gregory had gotten married at the age of 21. His wife had 2 daughters when they met, daughters that he then took as his own.
Gregory Wedel-Morales went missing August 2019. His family was told, we as reporters were told, he was AWOL. And that means that he left on his own.
If someone goes AWOL, absent without leave, and wasn't a suspicious circumstance and they didn't show up for 30 more days, then they would be called a deserter.
They're calling me asking if I know where he's at, have I heard from him? Well, he's getting out in a couple weeks. Why would he go AWOL?
She honestly felt like nobody cared. And I will say, when he first went missing, there was no reward for information finding Gregory. There wasn't a rewards until there was a reward for Vanessa.
As the months went by, and I'm a teacher, and oh, it was hard. I mean, to sit there and just cry in front of your students.
The Army says a tip call led them to the remains.
The gruesome discovery was made as the search for missing Fort Hood soldier Private First Class Vanessa Guillen drags on.
When they discovered his body, we actually did a rosary, and we prayed for him to be with heaven. And because it actually touched me that no one cared about him.
If they were not looking for Vanessa, they would not have found Gregory. Point blank.
Foul play is suspected while an autopsy is completed to determine the cause and manner of death.
Gregory's death is still under investigation by the Killeen Police Department.
Because they determined it was foul play, Gregory Morales got his rank back, got his active duty status back, and for his family, got his benefits back, and he got the military funeral he deserved.
They failed on every level to look for him, to protect him, and if nothing else, just call and say, we're sorry, we screwed up.
So there are a lot of leads that are going on during this time. We've interviewed over 300 soldiers in the unit. We've conducted a lot of investigative activity. Where we get our real, I guess, first break is from the analysis of the phone cell data.
Investigators have now learned that the same day Vanessa goes missing, Specialist Robinson's phone pinged in Belton, Texas, by a bridge near the Leon River at 1:59 the next morning.
Everyone's wondering, what in the world is he doing there in the middle of the night?
He reports going home and spending the evening with his girlfriend. To investigators now, they've learned a whole different story. So at that point, they realize they're dealing with someone that's not being truthful. Now the question is, why?
A tip has now led search teams to the Leon River near Temple.
It's not just Army CID out there, it's FBI, it's the Texas Rangers, and the Bell County Sheriff's Department. There's also a nonprofit group there, EcuSearch.
They got information on the phone ping that led us to the area where we was at. And when we was searching, we found this burn pile. And on that burn pile, there was the top about maybe 30% that did not burn of a tough box.
And it sort of fits the description of what witnesses described that came out of Robinson's armory area that he loaded into his vehicle. So at this point, they're really piqued as to what they may have here.
To find a charred half a lid to the tough box would say, okay, she's somewhere around here.
And when I brought the detective over there, he said, well, no, that's a different type of box. And I got a probing rod out, and we put it down where the burn pile was at, and it went down about 3 feet.
We started digging, the dirt was fresh.
And then outside of that burn pile, it wouldn't go down at all. I said, now something has happened here.
EquiSearch finds this burn pile, and it just doesn't make any sense. They're asking themselves, what would somebody be burning here and why?
So they got Texas Rangers out there, and we dug the burn pile.
They looked around, but they did not find human remains at that point.
And then they brought a dog out there, cadaver dog, and the dog alerted roughly 300 feet away on the water. So then the detective says, well, you know, it goes back to our theory, threw her in the water, and now this is where he burns the evidence.
But we felt strongly that she was there. Just experience, just gut.
I really felt she was out there. We had our command center, everything's set up there, and I met Vanessa's dad.
Y el señor Tim Miller me dijo a mí, pues tú nunca has hablado nada, tal vez ahorita si quieres hablar, date fuerzas. Y hablamos a uno de español, y fue cuando fueron los de Telemundo.
Mi mujer quiere que, ojalá y Dios quiere, la encuentremos viva, right? Pero pues si no, pues ni modo, de cualquier manera lo que queremos es encontrarla.
My own daughter disappeared, and 17 months later her body was found, and literally took a small sigh of relief. At least I knew.
While the family continues their desperate search for answers,
Viva, la quiero porque mi hija entró viva.
another woman enters the picture, and investigators want answers from her.